This is Face the Nation, broadcasting live from the CNN-IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Sagarika Ghosh.
Hi there. There's been a shocking case of a death as a result of road rage once again in Delhi, this time in Delhi's posh Khan Market. Is the kind of fury and brutal behavior by Delhi's motorists, the national capital's particular pathology, a result of the North Indian cultural mores that have still not come to terms with urban living perhaps? We're discussing that on the show. First, let's get you a report on the Khan Market incident.
8-year-old Joshua was told on Tuesday night that his father had died. But he doesn't know what that means. For the Wilsons, trying to come to terms with this loss is not easy. What's making it worse? The long-drawn police procedures.
बजाय कि मैं ये मौका गम में बिताऊं, मैं जाके वहाँ फॉलो अप कर रहा हूँ और हम लोग दिल्ली पुलिस में अनाउंसमेंट करते हैं, बिग बैनर्स, FIR is very simple. We are going online. What is online FIR? यार? What are we talking of?
37-year-old Rajiv had got into an argument with Jet Airways pilot Vikas Agarwal after he bumped into his car at Khan Market on Tuesday afternoon. In the quarrel that followed, Wilson came under the wheels of Agarwal's car when the latter was trying to escape. What's making matters worse for the Wilson family is that at a time when they would want to mourn the loss of their loved one, they're having to run from pillar to post and be at the mercy of authorities to even get the body of Rajiv and perform the last rites. The police, meanwhile, is busy following procedure.
केस की सेंसिटिविटी को देखते हुए हम मेडिकल बोर्ड बिठवा रहे हैं ताकि एक न्यूट्रलिटी रहे and visually videographed properly.
Rajiv's family has spent the entire day waiting outside the mortuary of this government hospital, only to be told hours later that the post-mortem will happen on Thursday. They are now concerned about the way the case is being handled.
The way the clothes were tattered and torn, it means the person has been dragged for a considerable amount of space. The surprising thing is that, nobody bothered to even look on those evidences.
But the forensics team that conducted an inquiry said that the evidence proves that Vikas Agarwal's intent was not to kill Rajiv. It was a case of an argument that went horribly wrong. But for this family, coming to terms with their loss, this cold logic is of little comfort. With Smriti Advani in New Delhi, Priyanka Dubey.
Fury on the streets of Delhi, something all of us in Delhi see day in and day out. What is causing it? Is it the normlessness of North India? Is it because North Indian cultural mores are aggressive and violent? To give us a South Indian perspective, we have Cho Ramaswamy, editor of Tughlaq and political commentator, joining us. We also have Kiran Bedi, former IPS officer, and Raman Meghasese awardee, someone who knows a thing or two about Delhi traffic. Neelam Katara, eminent citizen of India, social activist, crusader for reform in our criminal justice system, and Nitish Katara's mother, Suhail Seth, managing partner of Counselage. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. The question we're asking tonight, in fact, is killer road rage in the national capital. Does North Indian culture breed this kind of lawlessness, or is it the culture of Delhi? What are you telling us? 88% there are saying yes, it's North Indian culture, it's the culture of Delhi. Kiran Bedi, I've always wanted to ask this question. You know, why is it that normal people, when they get behind the wheel of a car in Delhi, become quasi-criminalized? This, of course, was an accident, but there have been cases when women have been shot dead because they've intervened in a heated traffic argument. Others have been shot dead because they've tried to intervene in traffic arguments. Why is it? What is this criminal behavior behind the wheel?
Since you introduced me as somebody who would know one or two things about traffic, let me stick to my traffic experience. I think there's been a declining fear of getting caught and punished heavily and losing one's license. So I think it's been a license to violate, and it's fearlessness of enforcement. I think enforcement has lost its effectiveness over the years. And if you're looking at northern culture, I think individualism, height of selfishness and masochism in this part of the region, these things combined with not being afraid of the law and the law enforcement being weak and the laws being weak on this count, I think all have cumulatively accelerated this problem.
Neelam Katara, let me come to you on the very important cultural argument that Kiran Bedi has made. There's this machismo of North India, the aggression, the violence. Is this what leads young men to commit crimes, the kind of crimes that you are a victim of, with utter fearlessness, as if it's almost as if crime pays because there's no fear?
Well, yes, I mean, I wouldn't say North India, but definitely in the capital and the surrounding areas, this whole feeling that, you know, you can defy the law and get away with it. The law enforcement, as Ms. Bedi said, is very weak, and the extent to which you can defy the law almost proves how strong you are. So we have these incidents of, you know, firing of pistols and guns at weddings, which I don't think happens in any other part of the country. So I think somehow or the other this is associated with bravado. Add to it the pressure caused by in population density in a city like Delhi leads to a lot of stress, and that stress finds its ventlet in any form.
But it's also, you know, as you have found out, but as you have found out in your experience in the criminal situation that you have faced and the death of your son, it's also because of the political connections. People have, you know, everyone in the North Indian region has political patronage of one kind or the other coming from some criminalized MP who is sheltering the criminals.
Certainly we see it all the time, and in Delhi especially, almost everybody who commits a crime or who is rough on the road knows that he has somebody behind him to help him out in case there is a traffic violation. And I don't blame sometimes the policeman, if I may say so, because he knows that if he does take a strong action, probably he'll be wasting his time, because there will be a godfather behind the person. If somebody is really, really sure that he's out there on his own, he's helpless. He will not get into this kind of violent action, but sometimes, which might have happened, he might try to run away because he knows he may feel recently someone was shot over a plate of mutton tikkas or chicken tikkas.
That's right.
So you are not
in
sure.
December.
There is basic mistrust.
Shot over a plate of mutton tikka. That can only happen in Delhi, actually. Suhail said the pathology of Delhi, the culture of don't you know who I am. Perhaps it's because people are not used to living in a city, because in the presidency towns in which you have lived, in Kolkata, in Bombay, there is rudeness, but it's of a different variety. There is something wicked afoot in Delhi, don't you think?
You see, it's the difference between being the children of Tagore and being the children of Schwarzenegger. Most people in Delhi, and I wouldn't call it North India, because, you know, people in Amritsar, in Jalandhar, Ludhiana, very civilized. Something happens to people in Delhi. I think it's the effect of the unruly scenes we see in Parliament by some of the hoodlums who occupy those places in Parliament. The reality, as Kiran and both Neelam rightly say, is that there is this perception, there is this belief in people in Delhi that there will always be some godfather to bail them out. A. B. Look at the education system. Look at the way children are spoiled by their parents. Everything is about badgification. You know, my mobile is smarter than yours. My car is bigger than yours. It's all about, do you know who I am? Do you know how big I am? Do you know how powerful I am? None of these guys have the civility or the individual confidence of their intellect. Their intellect is captured in bores and bullets and in guns. That's the tragedy. I mean, this was a city which had Jessica Lal shot. But then, Shagurika, this was also the city which had 300 jokers who were present that evening who didn't want to testify because they were also scared about the persons who those jokers knew. So the Manu Sharmas of the world have been bred in this cesspool. You've had people shooting women, you had people raping and molesting girls.
Is it because, so I want to come down to the point about, I want to come down to the point about urban norms. Kiran Bedi, is it because there is a feeling that people are not, they don't know how to live in a city? Because, you know, the kind of behavior you see on the street, the kind of violent attitudes that people have, it's almost as if the city is a place of extreme anomie, as extreme anonymity. You can get away with anything in the city. There are the urban norms by which Western societies live are completely missing in Indian cities, particularly in Delhi.
I believe, listen, we can only give pointers because we don't have authentic research on this. So some of the pointers which come to my mind is, I think in cities like these, there's a heightened individualism. The individualism is me, myself. And me, myself and survival. I think the key is survival. I myself, and I must survive, and I must succeed by hook or crook. So I think the community camaraderie, which you see in smaller cities or in villages, doesn't exist in this part of our country, and certainly not in a metropolis or Delhi. So it's not people flocking together for help. It's like, I protect myself, and it won't happen to me. Let that happen to this man, and if something's happened to me, I must survive, and I must succeed, and I must get away. And it heightens individualism and selfishness. I think that's the key. And where is the value education? Where is the community value education? I think that's been totally absent in.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. We don't feel we belong here. There is no community feeling at all within a city. The fellow human being next to you is someone who you can murder, actually, with a smiling face. Chor Ramaswamy, is this because of North Indian culture? That's the question we're asking. Is it that the North Indian cultures are not urban cultures? They are macho, feudal, regressive cultures, and that is why this kind of behavior is there?
No, I wouldn't say that at all, because there are a lot of violent incidents taking place in Tamil Nadu, elsewhere in the south also. It is not as if violence is the monopoly of the North Indians. The South Indians also practice it in equal measure.
So it's happening in the south as well as in the north. Neelam Katara, is it because of infrastructure? You know, just to take off from what Kiran Bedi was saying, that, you know, I have to survive here. There's not enough place to park. I have to get onto the bus in which there's no place. I have to get onto the train in which there's no place. I have to get to that hospital before somebody else gets there. There's lack of facilities, which is why people are uncivilized, because the lack of infrastructure is making us uncivilized.
Lack of facilities, or I can say increased population density. But at the same time, there is this whole lot of feeling, because everyone has come in from outside, that I must push and push everybody out. I mean, even if there is an empty bus which drives in, people will not stand in a queue, they'll push each other. Even with the metro, they'll push each other. So it's me before everybody.
So because it pays to be criminalized. You know, if you jump the queue, you will get the service.
No.
Yeah, because it's this insecurity that if I don't do it, the next person is going to do it. And he'll be protected. There's nobody to protect me, because the belief, the faith in the police and the law, we don't have it in Delhi for the common citizen. The common man knows that he's on his own. There is nothing to support him. And that is why he starts fighting even before he has a cause to do it.
So Suhail said you wanted to come in.
No, I'm saying, look at Bombay, for instance. Bombay has the same influx of people going out to eke a living. But you know, in Bombay, the theory is live and let live. In Delhi, the theory is live and let die. You don't want other people to succeed, whether you fail or not. That's A. B, please understand the sociological evolution of Delhi. Delhi was built out of migrants. It was built primarily, the large Punjabi boorishness that you often associate with Delhi was what happened during partition, where people had lost everything in Pakistan and then moved here. So they were fighting for survival, and they were fighting for anything they could lay their hands on. That's A. B, I think politics, the adjoining politics of Haryana and UP have played a great role in shaping modern day Delhi. So it's not just Delhi, it's the national capital region to my mind. And those are the jokers with newfound money, with newfound power, with newfound access, who think they can run amok.
And let's put those points to Kiran Bedi.
No, but one minute, Shagurika, in Calcutta, it's what you are. In Delhi, it's who you know. And in Bombay, it's what you do. That's the essential difference between the three metros.
That's a very good point. And Bombay and Calcutta have been presidency towns, so they have had an urban history, whereas Delhi has not had that urban evolution. Kiran Bedi, you know, from the point of view of traffic, the completely brutal Delhi motorist, what can be done? Is education the answer? Before getting a license, do you have to pass 10 tests? Can you keep calm? Do you have a temper problem? Are you liable to, lean across and shoot the person next to you? You know, are these educational lessons that have to actually be given to all Delhi drivers?
Oh, the education lessons won't work. Education doesn't work by this stage. I think it has to be very heightened fear of enforcement. That if you're caught, you will go behind the bar. And once you go behind the bar, you're suspended.
But that means you need to strengthen the laws. That means you strengthen the laws. At the moment, the accused is only charged under 304, which is a death by negligence that just carries a 2-year jail term, and he's out on bail already.
Absolutely, the laws have not kept pace with the needs of the community and with the needs of enforcement. They've not kept pace. They're far behind. It's absolutely opposite to the developed countries, where they have a problem, they immediately convene and they pass a law and they enforce the regulation. Here, the lawmakers are on holiday, or they are on agitation, or they are on a dharna themselves. So where are the lawmakers today? In fact, the laws are far behind than the need of enforcement. Look at the punishment. 100 rupees fine for a particular state. What is 100 rupees today? 100 rupees is a normal tip we leave at a club or at little restaurant.
Right.
What about this? This is not a fine. So I think these are the problems. It is a law-making problem. It's the enforcement problem. It's a lack of fear problem.
The lack of fear problem. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I've actually seen traffic policemen cowering in fear because a very powerful person has broken the law inside his huge BMW, and he doesn't have the social or political power even to take on that powerful criminal inside his BMW. Let's take a short break and come back with more.
Crime takes place because Delhi attracts a large number of migrants. There are a large number of unauthorized colonies. And these migrants who settle in unauthorized colonies carry a kind of behavior which is unacceptable in any modern city.
There's been yet another death as a result of a traffic dispute in Delhi, and we're asking the question, is the culture of North India, the culture of Delhi, breeding lawlessness? Let's get a perspective in from Cho Ramaswamy. Cho Ramaswamy, you were saying that it's not the North Indian culture that is breeding lawlessness, it's happening all over India, but why is it happening? Is it because we can't come to terms with urban living? Is it the stress of modern life? Is it because we are just inherently bad, rude people? What is the reason?
Shall I point out something? This was not happening earlier. Say 20, 30 years back, this was not happening. Now all of a sudden, these things are happening on the road. There is no traffic discipline. Earlier it was not like that. There is a total change in the attitude of people. It is not culture, it is attitude. It is not inbuilt in us. I don't think so at all, because say about 20 years back, as I said, or even 30 years back, things were not like this. Our attitudes have changed. Maybe we are trying to learn more about our rights than our duties as citizens. We are aware of our rights, we are not aware of our duties. There is a general indiscipline. It is not in our culture, but this attitude is developing because we are trying to ape the Westerners. Whatever is bad in the West, we absorb it. Right. Whatever is good there, we reject it.
It's the attitude and not the culture. That's what is important. But I want to also pick up on Kiran Bedi's point and put it to Neelam Katara. Neelam Katara, is the answer tougher laws, better policing? Are we going to look at a heavily policed city? Doesn't that have its own implications, where all our pleasure spots are policed? There's a heavy security presence everywhere in the city. Is that the kind of city you want to see?
Well, yes, we don't want to see a heavy police, but we want to see the police implementing the laws without any interference. I mean, the police commission reforms, suggestions have not been accepted by any state. So here you have a police in every state, and I mean, I wouldn't even like to mention what is happening in Uttar Pradesh about looking at what has happened to that poor girl. But we need more effective policing. Another thing is, of course, we need higher tax like we have in the West, higher congestion tax, so that more and more people are encouraged to use a public transport system, which of course should be more efficient.
That's a very good point, actually. Let me put that to Suhail said. Suhail said we need to manage our cities better. You know, a place like Khan Market should ideally be a walk-in plaza. Why should people start crushing in there with their SUVs into those narrow lanes, which naturally breed stress and anger? The planning of a city is also very important and perhaps having an effect on people's behavior.
But Chagrika, that's a minor point, because it's not as if there are malls in India that are bereft of any violence. I think there are three things that are happening. Number one, that people can get away feeling amongst everyone in India. When you see the Shibu Sorens of the world, when you see all the hoodlums in politics who get away with blue murder, when you see the Rajas of the world scowling, including the Karunanidhis, smiling after ravishing all the cream, people believe that people can get away. Number one. Number two, all our institutions in the last 20 years have taken a knocking, and Cho's absolutely right. 30 years ago, 35 years ago, we believed in our police, we believed in the army, we believed in our institutions.
We've ceased to believe in the law.
Deepak Kapoor is a thief.
And we've ceased to trust
Deepak Kapoor
each other.
Is a thief. He made money from others. So if Deepak Kapoor can make money and he's the army chief, why the hell can't I? Or the ex-army chief. The third, which is the critical thing, we've stopped educating people. We've stopped imparting knowledge. We've started distributing degrees. And it's not about Delhi. It's not about North India alone. I think it's a general malaise. I have to tell you, and I'm not a proponent or a propagator of Calcutta, but go to Calcutta, go to Madras. These cities are still civilized. You know why? Because they allow for civility. You have people who understand things. People who teach you in schools are civil. You know, people aren't hoodlums who are teaching in schools.
But I've received an SMS to your comment, Suhail. I just received an SMS to your comment saying, why bash Delhi? Delhi is probably the only city in India which will never push anyone out. They will let a Bengali or a Bihari or a Tamilian stay here. They don't have an anti-North India campaign like Bombay does. Kiran Bedi, there are good things about Delhi in that everyone is welcome here. But as you were saying, perhaps because everyone is here, nobody belongs here. There's no sense of belonging to the city, which is probably why it causes this kind of behavior that if you don't belong, you don't care. You can murder your fellow traffic person on the street.
Sagrika, I think what has also happened over the years is we've allowed a culture of defiance. I think people have been defying and getting away with it. And we've not found solutions to these, effective solutions. And individuals who came for effective enforcement were marginalized. In fact, they were not welcome because they affected the VIP. The VIP culture in the city is a culture of defiance. And secondly, the only way we could have countered this culture of defiance was by electronic camera surveillance. And we've not even had that. If we had had camera surveillance, we could have caught these people and had evidence against to check defiance, which is the rich, the powerful and the political or whatever. So I think we've not found better ways of checking this culture of defiance by the rich and the mighty and the powerful and the muscle. So I think we've let this slip out. Until we bring that back, Delhi will never come under proper effective control. And secondly, before I close, I would give my life to say, what if the media does a little tracking of the last 5 years of rage cases like these and find out what's happened? I bet they must be slugging, they must be just at snail's pace in most of the courts. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The criminal justice system having collapsed, which has encouraged this kind of impunity and defiance.
That's a very, very comprehensive analysis of the pathology of Delhi, the VIP culture, the defiance, the fact that no reforms have been introduced in policing and technology, and the very important responsibility that the media has. Kiran Bedi, thanks very much indeed for those insights. Insights have also come from Neelam Katara, Suhail Seth, Cho Ramaswamy. Thank you all very much. This has been a very interesting discussion about what ails Delhi and how we can solve it. Remember, if you're going home, going anywhere, driving tonight, calm down, count up to 10, think of calming things. Do not get angry while you're behind the wheel. That's the worst thing you can do. Thanks very much indeed to all our panelists. The question is the culture of North India creating lawlessness. What are you telling us there? 88 yes. Thanks for watching.